I think between both parties, they should stop bickering and ranting against one another and help people. Lead, take an active role, be consistent, be on one accord, because too many people have lost their lives due to this invisible demon. There's just too much at stake. There's people being evicted, unemployment, just so many things. They need to send COVID relief and send it fast. You know, one stimulus check, it wasn't enough. We're like a couple of stimulus checks behind. So if they would have just did what they should do instead of, well, okay, we'll make a decision this day. No, we'll make one this day. Okay, now we're taking a recess. They're doing all that, but then we, the people, we're left behind. So I think if they would have just took care of us, you know, put all whatever they got going on, put it aside and meet the needs of the people first, I think that would have been a big help, because the longer they wait and the longer they take, again, the more our livelihoods are at stake. They didn't act quickly enough in the first place, and there was no uniformity against state lines. So I feel like it was a lack of leadership, especially with the information that I heard yesterday, is knowing about the virus, but you didn't tell us about it because you didn't want us to panic. That's how, you know, I had COVID and I had it back in March. So when I had it, it was wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, and don't shake hands. So if somebody would have been honest in the first place, I wouldn't have almost lost my life and been hospitalized twice. It was a mess.
Not too much. They can provide information and guidelines, but I don't think they should mandate to the states anyways, to wear a mask or anything. It should be up to the states. You know, each individual state is a little different situation. So the state should do the any action or something but the federal government can be informative. That's about it. People like getting money. They like to receive money from the government, but it's not free. That's our tax money. So they've already taxed us, what's going on is that they borrow it. It goes straight to the national debt. We started out, the national debt at the beginning of the year was, I don't know, 22 trillion or something, and now it's up to 27 trillion. So the government really doesn't have money to give us. They'll borrow it, and our children are going to have to pay for it somewhere along the line. We're going to have to, pay the piper for this stuff.
Yes, because it seems like the rich is getting richer and the poor is getting poorer. And I think it would kind of help stimulate the economy. Again, with the stimulus checks, maybe grants for the small businesses, because some people, they worked so hard for their businesses and just no one asked for COVID to come. You know, it's unexpected and it just hit. And these people, their livelihoods, you know, with their businesses, everything just kind of dwindled down to where some people have nothing at all. So again, that COVID relief, a stimulus package that would help, again, for small business individuals, unemployment benefits, stop people from being evicted. What is that? I know what I want to say. I'm losing my thought. Oh, student loan debt, you know, because the interest, you know, they say they're doing something, but still, it's like, just eliminate that. A lot of people will never catch up with a lot of stuff. And like, we're still waiting on stimulus checks now. Some people are still so far behind with everything. That one check, it might not even help if it's not continuous until people can get back on their feet. still need to have another stimulus check. It's like, regardless, just and extend the unemployment benefits, indefinite, because starting and stopping and making people panic, and it just causes too much stress and anxiety on people. Yeah, make provisions for healthcare insurance, help with utility bills, even cell phone bills, because people need their phones to connect and talk and do what they need to do. There's so much that's needed right now. It's just really sad. Again, it goes back to number one. If in the beginning, everything was conveyed the right way and took action right away, we probably wouldn't be in this much debt and everything that we're in right now.
If it was going to give out any money at all, I would rather see it go to the individuals rather than to businesses or large corporations, and only to individuals. I mean, the last stimulus program, it was packed with all kinds of goodies for military and other things that were not really related to COVID. So if they just strictly limited it to, giving it to individuals, that would be better. And then the individuals would spend that money on the businesses that are important to them. So the businesses that are important to people at this point in time would flourish. That's the way the free market works. So I would rather put the money in the hands of individuals, but still, again, we don't have the money. We're in debt. We're deeply in debt, and we're going deeper in debt all the time. So we don't have the money, and the debt is going to get passed on to our children. So no, I really don't think that it should go. We should do anything like that. Well, I don't think we should defund the police. That's, if there's crime and other problems, we do need the police to keep the peace and keep us, protect us from thugs, I guess. But in the case of George Floyd, I watched the video like everybody else, and the guy was kneeling on the guy's neck and he was handcuffed. I mean, come on. So I would, number one, I would make it, so that I would say that police are not allowed to use chokeholds or lean on the guy's neck, especially if he's handcuffed. And then in the case of Breonna Taylor, that was a no-knock raid. And so I would not, I don't support no-knock raids either. I mean, that's just asking for trouble to break into somebody's house in the middle of the night. There's no telling how they're going to react. So I would eliminate no-knock raids. And sometimes they even get the wrong address, and they'll bust into a house of an innocent person. So I just don't understand that. And then what else is there? Qualified immunity. Police should be held accountable if they act recklessly or trigger happy. They should be held accountable for that. So I would eliminate the qualified immunity for police.
Combat police misconduct, the excessive force, the racial bias in policing, no qualified immunity, meaning if the officers did something wrong, they need to be held accountable. Report misconduct, because like if someone gets fired, they can just go to another police force and just get hired again and do the same thing over and over again. So that information needs to be distribute it to wherever, some kind of file system where that person just can't get away with it, get hired, and then just do the same thing in another community. Also, remove the corruption and make sure there's more diversity, more people of color and women on the police force. I think that would help, and just figure out a way to bring more minorities in. If we look at the rest of the world, look at the amount of mass murders that are in the United States compared to other countries, to other places in the world. There is no form of gun control. I support criminal background checks and waiting periods for purchasing guns. And people should take a mandatory safety course in no assault rifles or, high capacity magazines. That's that I think that might reduce some, and just get the guns off the streets, however possible. Just reporting that information to when someone goes to try to purchase a gun. If someone has a mental background, well, health issues, they shouldn't be able to purchase a gun. If someone has a background history of abuse and just things like that, they need to just check.
This is an age-old debate. Guns are not the cause of crime. I mean, a gun is an inanimate object. It's a tool that people can use for good or evil. And so, and then the old saying is that if guns are outlawed, only outlaws will have guns. Well, that's true. That the criminals will always find a way to find a gun. That's why they're criminals. They don't obey the law. They're not going to obey any gun laws. So and you have a right to defend yourself. I mean, you can't have a policeman on every corner, every street corner. So you as individuals should have the right to own a gun and defend yourself if needed. We should focus, as far as crime is concerned, we should focus on, on the sources of crime. Focusing on guns is just a waste of time. It's a distraction from, addressing the real problems of crime, which is poverty and then the underground drug market, things like that. Focusing on guns just distracts us from that. Operation Legend has done some good. They come in, but they're only temporary. They're only gonna be here a little while, and then they're gonna leave. But I think it's overreach on the federal government that local crime is a local problem, and it should be dealt with in the cities themselves. And having FBI agents and ATF agents running around, I don't know. I think it just increases the fear and anxiety. People at this point in time don't trust the police, don't like the police, and leave that job up to the local policeman. And I think we'll all be better off.
I just have some concerns that some of the federal agents may use excessive force and abuse their force. I see that it's getting some people arrested and off the streets, which is a good thing, but it's still questionable with some people and their motives that are in the uniforms. I don't feel it's always safe for everyone. say it seems like it escalates tension maybe too, like there's an overstep of federal force. No, because there are people with pre-existing conditions, and that just leaves them out. It would make it impossible for them to get health care. They shouldn't touch it. They should make it stronger that everyone has health care and make it affordable for everyone. Make sure that people have their prescriptions that are affordable. People shouldn't have to choose between paying a bill and having a prescription for their livelihood, because it's a matter of life and death for some individuals. Everyone deserves it. It should be a human right with health care.
Yes, I do. I do support the repeal. I think the healthcare is one sixth of our economy, and we just don't want to turn it over to a bunch of bureaucrats. I mean, look at the Veterans Administration. Look at the problems they have, and the private sector, has its faults, but having turning it over to a bureaucracy with all the red tape and and then you throw some politics involved with it and everything. I just think the less government is involved in healthcare, the better off we are. There should be more. Actually, there should be more of a direct a cost relationship between a doctor and a patient. I mean, patients pay premiums, to the insurance companies. We pay a middleman, the insurance companies, and we don't even know what those premiums are being paid for. So, if patients were allowed to shop around for prices and if they knew, what have simplified billing, so they knew what they were being billed for, I think that would go a long way to reducing health care costs. But having the government do it through the ACA or any other program, I think is a bad approach. It's still up to the states. They might be able to monitor the states, but they really don't have any authority to do anything or say anything, and I don't think they should. In Missouri, we do have absentee ballots in Missouri, and my wife and I have used that in the past. And you request a ballot, and then you get a uniquely numbered ballot back, so the Board of Elections can track that, and then you send it back in. So I think, absentee voting, I don't see any problem with that. Sending out ballots, unsolicited ballots to the voter registration rolls, I don't think that's a good idea. The the voter registration rolls are really out of date, and it's not the Board of Elections fault, because people move or they'll die or something. But the voter registration rolls are inaccurate. So I don't think we should send out unsolicited ballots, but I don't have a problem with absentee ballots. And that's mostly up to the states. It's not up to the federal government.
People should be able to vote absentee ballot due to COVID-19. There's some other states that are doing it, and I think they should just allow it to happen, just so everyone can make that vote. It's our right to vote. And with this pandemic, that's no one's personal problem that it happened, but the federal should make sure that everyone can vote. Don't penalize somebody because of COVID and then won't allow them to vote. A commitment I would make is to be the change that I want to see. No county left behind in my district or anywhere else. I truly want to represent people. It's people first, not party first. It's people first. You know, these are taxpayers, and just citizens. We deserve to be treated with all dignity and respect, liberty, equality, and justice for all. And it seems like there's been a lack thereof. So I would do my part. And I also would plan to have town hall meetings and, you know, just stay in touch and communicate, not only come around when it's time for election time. You need to talk to the people and build relationships with them and network with key stakeholders and, you know, just try to see what we can do to make it better for all of us. Because as I always say, business as usual is no longer acceptable. People need to be held accountable. It's like lead, follow, or get out the way. If you're going to be in office, then do your job and really be a public servant.
I'm going to vote no on every single increase in spending. The federal government spends way too much as it is. We don't need to spend any more of people's tax. We don't need to collect tax money and then turn around and spend. There's a big overhead in doing that because you have to pay bureaucrats to, you know, collect the taxes and manage the spending. So I would vote no on every single spending bill. And I might only be in there for 2 years. People might not like that, but it has to be done. We're just our spending is just out of control. And then I would vote no on any bill that, you know, increases regulation or tries to control people's lives in any way. The government is already too intrusive. So, you know, I would probably be voting no on a lot of bills. And if I could repeal some regulations, or if I could introduce some bills to cut spending or reduce regulations, I would do that. I'm not sure if I'd have the chance to do that, but I would just be there to limit government and let people alone. If they're peaceful citizens, they should be left alone. The government shouldn't spend their tax money or interfere in their lives in any way.